It's showtime.
Hey, welcome to Did You Watch Survivor Last Night? This is the only podcast for compassionate haters of the television show Survivor. My name is Jake Scheidel. Each week I ask my best friend Thomas Powell if he did indeed watch a certain reality show. Hey Thomas, how you doing today?
Jake, the air is getting crisper. I'm wearing one of those Christian hats. I got my boots on, scarf.
Christian hats. What?
I'm feeling pretty super lucky that it's fall. If you get my drift.
Feeling pretty super lucky that it's fall. Why?
It's you could even say it's pretty super lucky season.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Because you're excited for the drinks from our friends over at Starbucks.
PSL time, baby.
It's PSL season, of course.
Me and my girlies are going down. We're getting our PSLs. We're putting them in our Stanley tumblers for some reason.
Yeah.
And
oh my god. Do you have one for each color? Each day of the week?
Of course. I have. If you open my front door, you get cartoonishly buried in a bunch of Stanley tumblers. My whole house is filled with them.
I actually can't buy any more food because my fridge and pantry are so filled with Stanley tumblers.
Yeah, they're rebooting the show Hoarders just to put me on it.
I've heard of Tumblr, but Stanley tumblers? What is this, The Office? That would have been such a good joke.
Back in my day, the only
2011.
Stanley Tumblr we cared about was a fan site.
Yeah, exactly. Remember when, remember on The Office when they told Creed that he had a blog and it was literally just a Word document? That's a good bit.
That is a good bit. Oh my god, The Office. Have you seen it?
Speaking of television programs from the 2000s, a new one premiered last week called Survivor. And by last week, I mean in 2000, and it continues to this day for 24 years. Thomas, did you watch 47 of... Hey, Thomas, did you watch Survivor 47 last night?
I watched 47 of the Survivors. Yes, I did watch Survivor 47.
That's perfect. I didn't get the episode title. It was something like A Glorious and Thoughtful Episode or something like that. It was whatever John Lovett said. That was pretty funny. Okay, let's just get into it. Sam says he's a wolf in wolf's clothing. Good. I like self-awareness. I liked seeing Asia play basketball as a kid. That was pretty cool.
Ball is life. It was a nice hook shot that she hit.
True. Kyle was in 27 homes before he graduated high school. I'm telling you, this guy is winning. John Leavitt feels pretty confident his friends and family want to see him suffer. Pretty funny stuff.
His enemies, too.
Yep.
Your ops wanted even more.
Sorry, I lost track of where I was. Okay, so John Leavitt. It's so good. Jeff then welcomes them to Survivor 47. I don't know. Was there anybody else in the introduction that of note that said anything interesting to you?
No, everybody is doing the thing where they're trying to brand themselves really early.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I find that annoying.
You can't force that. That's got to come naturally.
Yeah, your gameplay is going to speak for you. You can try and set things up as much as you want, but ultimately it's going to come down to how you play the game.
Absolutely. Jeffrey says this very naturally. Every season of Survivor starts with the forming of a new community. Humans have always craved community, and yes, the haters are right. You aren't abandoned, but you are playing the great game of Survivor with your fellow humans.
What imaginary haters is Jeff addressing here?
Like people from 2001. Like, are they really stranded out there? That hasn't been a thing on the show in years.
Is this because people are like, they're making the game too hard or something? Like, what? I don't understand.
I guess. I don't know. Did you like when he said 24 years and he was like, really emphasized it? We've been playing this game for 24 years. He said it like that. I was like, Jeff, get over yourself.
Jeff does need to get over himself. I often find myself thinking that.
I often find myself thinking, smarten up, Probst, and then the episode ends. Okay. He then asks everybody about themselves. Andy introduces himself as not having any friends in high school. Oh, boo-hoo. You're an adult now.
I am so tired of people going on Survivor and acting like it's fucking high school again.
Because it is. It's
Bro,
the jocks and
I'm
the nerds
sorry,
against each other. It's the hot people and the nerds every time.
You gotta move past it. Like,
how old is Andy? Do you remember?
He was in his 20s, I thought.
Still an adult. You're not in high school. Most people in their 20s are not still in high school. Except for 21 Jump Street, remember? 22 also. John chops it up with Andy and Jeff, and everybody loves it. I was so annoyed with this. There were
a few points with. Yeah, I should have opened the episode being like, I'm Tom, and I care a lot about what everyone thinks of me. That
was pretty funny.
It was funny. I was a little worried. There were points during this episode where I was like, God, is he gonna like go really far in this? Like, is he actually gonna play this right? And it seemed like he was.
It really did feel like it. Because it just felt like they were promoting him as like, oh, this is the guy. This is our guy. He's the new David Wright. He's the new John Cochran. He's the new.
He's the new Mike White.
Mike White, yeah. And he wasn't John Lovett. He was, in fact, John Leavitt.
He was John Leavitt.
Jeffrey then walks them to a gladiators arena. Okay. The grandness of this opening challenge impresses Andy. But then we don't really see how big the challenge is. Was this a really big challenge?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't stand out as being huge to me.
No. They have to crawl under a muddy net, race into jungle, retrieve puzzle pieces, do a rectangular puzzle, and then stand on top of the puzzle. Pretty good stuff. Was it? I don't know. It was the same. It was a
challenge. I like the ones where they get mud on them, but it was just a challenge. Like, that's how I felt about both of the challenges. They didn't really start it in an interesting way.
I know you love the mud, Thomas, and I understand why. Because it is literally birthing them into Survivor, which is Jeff's big thing now. It's not even native mud to the islands of Fiji. They have to ship in dirt and then sift it down to a point where it melds with the water in such a way that they get the right viscosity. And then they cover it with plastic overnight so nobody can touch it, so that it's genuine for the players or whatever. He said that on the podcast, and I just said, Jeff, shut up.
Do less, Jeff.
That's stupid. It was like, and then they look different when they get to the beach. It's like, I guess. But, like, it's different because now they're in the game anyway. You don't need to douse them in mud. And then he even said, oh, we can also put them, like, throw them off the side of a ship and get them in the ocean, and then they'll look different too. Yeah, just do that.
That's so much better. I love when they have to take the stuff off the boat and go to the shore. It's great.
It's chaotic. It's fun. Like, nobody knows anything yet, so they're all trying to work really hard together.
Jeff gets to start on the boat. I like when Jeff does the, like, season intro on the boat.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I don't like the mud much after hearing that. I think it's a cool idea, because remember in, was it season 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, one of the early ones, when they found that mud pit and, like, just played in it and had fun? That was great. That was genuine and natural. This shit's not natural to the environment they're living in, so why are we doing it?
Yeah, that does. I think having it be more... It's not you against the elements if they're shipping the elements in. Or if they're shipping elephants in, if the elephants normally aren't there.
Yeah. After Gabon, that one elephant they had was like, look, I'm going to need a lot more money if you want me flying all over the world. I want me flying to Fiji. Imagine an elephant on Fiji. That would be so cool.
Sorry, I was imagining it. That's why I didn't say anything. Smiling serenely as I imagine it. But
yeah. It's good to think about.
What I'm also imagining now is them just taking this to a logical extreme where they're just, the rain's not even real.
They're just dumping a bunch of water on them.
What is this, The Truman Show?
Yeah. This is basically The Truman Show, I think.
Yeah. I would watch a Truman Show in real life, though, if they actually did that. The winners get camp supplies with pot, machete, and flint. Annika uses her buff to cover her face when she dives into the mud. Pretty smart. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that.
Yeah, that is a little bit of ingenuity there.
Yeah. Gata wins. Pretty good stuff. Sue says a cuss when they walk off, but I could not make out what the cuss was because it was silent and they covered her mouth with
That's
water.
inappropriate.
Yeah. Two people must go on a journey from the losing tribes. Tuku does rock, paper, scissors, and they choose Asia, and TK are sent out on the journey. This was fine, I guess.
I'm sick of the journey. No more of the journey.
Wow. And what, you're sick of 6 people on 3 tribes, too? Oh, and you're sick of Fiji, too? Ugh.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, but you love the mud. Okay.
You're gonna cry about it, but the mud's good. You didn't say anything about the mud.
We can all agree the mud is good.
The mud is good.
We then go to the Gata beach, and Rachel says this is the best moment of her life. That's cool. Best moment of your life, what do you think?
I don't know.
When you won the trivia trifecta?
Yeah, the most recent trivia win, that was my 5th in a row.
Yeah. They all introduce themselves, and John Leavitt plugs his podcast. I've been hearing too much about this fucking podcast. Get it out of here. The only podcast I want to hear about on Survivor is the only fun Survivor podcast. That's this one. What's it called now? The Compassionate Hater Survivor podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Too many podcasts were getting talked about on there. But, as a podcast host, I'm able to notice when other podcasts are being mentioned on TV shows. And I think that's, people are threatened by that.
Yeah. I think we need to get on Survivor and we can mention this podcast. Because that's apparently the thing to do now.
Yeah. Well, you don't go on Survivor to play Survivor. You go on to promote yourself.
Yeah. You go on Survivor to promote your Survivor podcast.
You're trying to build a brand, not win $1 million. It's like the $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z. Going on Survivor but not winning is dinner with Jay-Z, because you can make so much more money by becoming famous.
That what you just said kind of put me in the same headspace as when Andy decided to do math on screen about the factorials of relationships or whatever the fuck. You see this? You see this shit? Like it's fucking Goodwill Hunting or shit?
Yeah. He's mathematically solved dating.
What a cool guy. He also, another way he figured out dating, he tells John, seemingly unprompted, that he is in fact bisexual. This is a cool thing to bring up unprompted, I think.
I don't know. I mean, you're getting to know people, but yeah.
Yes. Maybe it was just poor editing, but
yeah.
It very much felt like, hey, John, you're gay. Guess what? Me too, by half.
I guess it's it's a way for you to be like, we have something in common. We should work together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to put it on the editors for doing a bad job than the awkward teenager. And he is a teenager, right? Because he's so worried about high school.
Yeah. He's 13 years old.
Bring back
Middle school is hard.
Over on Tuku, they build their shelter. Gabe wants to work with an older person because he's an old soul. Did either of us pick Gabe? I don't think so, right?
I don't know. I liked Gabe because he said he was there. He was not there to make friends. I don't like that he called himself an old soul, because that is a big pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say.
But I'm into this alliance.
I could see it working. It feels, I don't know, disingenuous, the way he was like, I don't care who it is, I just want an old person. And then he goes up to the first old person he sees, and they're like, we're tight. Why? Because he likes old people? It felt like he was fetishizing old people, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I like a mismatched alliance, though.
Sure. Speaking of alliances, Sue and Carolyn bond strongly. Has a lasting impact. Because she's like her daughter. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. I mean, what is this? Blood versus water? Come on.
Yeah, nuh-uh. They should do a season called Blood and Water, where at the end everybody becomes family. I guess that was All Stars, wasn't it?
Or they become blood brothers.
Ooh, or they become blood brothers. And Jeff says, at Final Four, you have to make fire. And they all say, no, we're not going to. And they all slice their hands open
Yeah.
and go hand in hand, and all four share their blood and say, Jeff, we're actually each going to take $250,000. Thank you very much. Only $200,000 when Kamala takes it. Trump, excuse me. I forgot Kamala's not president yet. Biden, shit.
Who's
Can
the
you name all the
president?
presidents?
We've never done that on the show before.
If you want to hear us name all the presidents, tune into a Patreon show. I don't give a fuck. So on Lavo, they build their shelter. Teeny, ironically, not a teen. Teeny, an adult. Andy, a teen.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Teeny is merely a small adult who wore some unfortunate pants, but had a good sense of humor about it.
I like that. But why? I guess you want to cover up your legs from bugs.
What are those?
Oh my god, throwback. Teeny considers eating a dead scorpion, and Kashan points out it's probably dead because it's diseased. I like that scene a lot. I like, was it Genevieve then points to him and goes, Doctor! Well, can't argue with that. Teeny asks them to rate her early buff look. Pretty funny. I liked it. I like this tribe.
Yeah, they seem fine. I think everybody's a little too bantery for my taste. This was never I think after watching old seasons of Survivor, like, people didn't act like this. You know, they weren't playing up for the cameras.
Yeah, well, because they didn't know the cameras were there back in the day.
Yeah,
Jeff only just now introduced them 24 years in.
They were just showing what happened when people stopped being polite and started getting real, and now they're not doing that anymore.
Here's another thing. When Jeff was on his spiel about, like, oh yeah, you're not actually stranded, we have all these cameras, I wish they would have turned the camera and been like, look how big our crew is. That would have been a cool breaking the fourth wall moment.
Yes.
And you gotta break the fourth wall. 4 is in the subtitle of the season. Survivor breaking the fourth wall 7.
Survive 4. T7.
Yeah, there we go. Teeny and Kashan have a strong connection because they're both gay. And they didn't even bring it up in an awkward way like Andy did. Everybody loves Teeny, obviously, ourselves included, yes?
Yeah, this is, there's a reason I picked Teeny.
Yeah. Genevieve really likes Rome and also wants Teeny on her side. Ooh, I can't wait to talk about Rome some more. But first, we got to talk about this journey. They have to retrieve 4 keys to get the camp supplies. The first clue is just a photo. It's a photo of the place they need to be. What? We're just telling them now? Anyway, Asia gets the first one, and then it's another photo, and Asia gets the second one, and it's attached to another photo. And then the last key is in the ocean. They get there at basically the same time, but TK wins out. Was this fun?
I hate the journey. I'm sick of it.
No, but it's different now. This combined Journey and Sweat versus Savvy. Did you notice?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your 2 favorite things.
We have to get some advantages out there, and also have people lose their votes.
Oh my god, nobody's even lost their vote yet, and we're a whole episode in. Annika tells them on the Gata beach about how good young coconuts are. The way that I phrase that makes it sound like Young Coconuts is a band.
It's your boy, Young Coconut.
She really didn't want to take on the leadership role, but found herself in it anyway. Do you like Annika?
I don't really have much of an opinion about Annika at this point.
I would say my opinion is leaning more negative, but mostly neutral at this point for her. Sam wants to be the glue guy. High on Sam. Sam is good. I like Sam. Do you like Sam?
I do like Sam.
Okay. Sarah is always looked at as the pretty pageant queen, but she's really her dad's little boy.
She's kind of a tomboy, actually.
pretty cool stuff. Do you like Sierra? You picked her,
I
right?
like Sierra, okay, and I did pick her.
Yeah. Um, are
I'm sorry,
Sierra?
I can't stop thinking about. Did you hear that Teeny and Sabrina Carpenter are actually dating now?
Teeny and Sabrina Carpenter are?
Yeah, do you know what their couple name is?
Tell me.
Espresso Marteeny.
That's pretty good. I thought you were going to say Short and Sweet and Teeny because her album.
Nope. If I was going to say that, I would have said it, wouldn't I?
Back over on Tuku, TK returns to camp with the supplies and everybody is thrilled. The boys all love TK and then they all fucking vibe together. Could this be this season's Dudes Rock Alliance?
I think it might be a Dudes Rock Alliance, and also I kind of want to call TK Tony Khan sometimes.
Ooh, that would be good, yeah, because people do call Tony Khan TK also. What would if TK from Tuku were running a wrestling promotion? Who do you think his favorite wrestlers would be?
Probably Chris Jericho.
Cage. Oh,
Christian Cage.
Yeah.
And
MJF.
MJF.
Yeah. Jungle Boy. What's he called now? Jack Perry.
Jack Perry and Bryan Danielson. I almost called him Daniel Bryanson.
Daniel Bryanson, everybody's favorite guy, champion. Oh, do you think he ever recovered from that bag over his head? I can't believe they did that on national television. That shit was wild. Okay, enough of Wrestling Corner. Gabe sees a Beware advantage and, naturally, opens it. He has found a box that tells him to pull a key off of a vine from a rock face, and Tony Khan catches him immediately and knows what's going on. Great stuff. Gabe is the chaos agent I want in the game every time.
Yeah, he definitely is the straw that stirs the drink for that tribe.
I like that. TK versus Gabe. If it's a final two, who are you voting for?
That's tough.
You have to remember, TK also already comes from $1 billion family. And Gabe's just a meek little radio host in Barback.
That's true. Gabe does not, his dad does not own the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I guess I'm going to pick TK.
Because you're such a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm such a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like his dad's mustache.
Oh, of course. How can you not? Asia returns to the Lavo Beach and tells everybody she lost the challenge. And then Teeny pulls her aside and says she's a huge fan of her podcast.
Oh, this is also the point where she said, as a host of a Survivor podcast, I know that coming home, coming back to the tribe with nothing is bad or whatever. It's like, what? No way. If you just watch Survivor, you don't know that, but if you talk about it, you do.
I'm looking at her profile on has a podcast. I'm sorry, we have to say it because she's on the episode. But I don't think she even does a show about Survivor. She does shows about Love is Blind and Big Brother. Claim to Fame. MAFS. What is that?
It sounds like she's stealing valor.
She's stealing podcast valor. And I don't appreciate that. MAFS. I wonder what that is. It says Love at First Sight. Is that just a typo? Married at First Sight. It's a different show. Okay. A perfect matchup. Perfect match wrap-up. Okay. I hate this website. There's a reason they're the villains in our story. Asia wants to make sure not to be blindsided by good vibes. Oh, when talking about Teeny? Yeah, same. I hate when people are too charismatic, you know?
Yeah.
I was playing D&D yesterday, and somebody was trying to do something that required charisma, and I said, as the DM, I said, I don't know. If you do good charisma, maybe you can.
Riz
and then
check.
Everybody laughed at
Do you say that? Do you say Riz check?
I wish I'd said Riz check. That would have been so much better. Instead, I said, if you do good charisma. Then everybody laughed at me. I'm in charge of the game. Why are you laughing at me?
That's not. You're not allowed to. You should have killed all of their characters immediately.
I actually nearly did. But we don't have to get into that. Oh
If you laugh at the DM, I will kill all of your characters.
You're playing a game for children? You're laughing and you think it's funny or whatever he said in The Joker? Part 2 is coming out this summer. You should watch it. The Joker is paying me now to promote his movie. Okay, so Rome goes looking for advantages on day 1, of course, because he's fucking not Tony Khan, Tony Vlachos in Game Changers, and everybody recognizes what he's doing immediately. Bad. He did bad, I think.
Somebody always does this.
Yeah. He finds a Beware advantage telling him to dig up the box, but decides he has to wait until night to dig it up. You know it's dark at night?
It's not safe out there.
It's not safe out there, Rome. Over on Tuku, Tiana eats a worm. Classic shit. Survivor 101. Gabe tells Sue about his Beware advantage, so she plays lookout while Gabe digs up the box. It's not nighttime. Wait, that was Rome, sorry. I got them confused. Inside the box is another box. He's given another task to lengthen the life of the idol, and then he drops the box down the hill.
This was good. I like that everybody heard him drop it and was like, what the fuck was that?
There's been a lot of chatter over the last few years about how to make idols more difficult to find or like retain, right? And they're like, oh, you gotta, melt this candle. Or
you could just have fewer of them, though.
No.
You cannot.
There's 16 people in this game, 18 people in this game, 20 people in this game. Each one of them needs an idol. And each one of them needs a box they can throw down the hill. Because that's funny. I do like what they're doing with idols now, where they're like, you have to be in full public view doing something ridiculous. It's the boxes are kind of the new era's silly phrases, when you think about it. When you think about it, throwing a box down the hill is kind of the same as saying a bunny rabbit is eating dinner in a mailbox, when you think about it.
It's very similar.
Okay, so they talk... On Gata, they talk about Vine and make fun of John Leavitt for being old.
Yeah.
He's 41 years old. He is not old.
This old-ass bitch knows what Vine is. He was there for it. And so he does damage control by being like, I love TikTok. The boomers don't like TikTok, but I have to watch a dog get adopted on there.
And then everyone's like, oh, yes, I do love that. I did watch a video of a mama cat this morning with a bag of treats in her mouth, galloping over to her 6 kittens.
I would never to the Zoomers. I hate TikTok, and I hope they ban it. Deal with it.
Wow. Rachel tells them each finger represents 15 minutes if you hold it up to the sun. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Can you repeat that?
When you hold up your fingers to the sun, each finger represents 15 minutes. In what context?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not following this.
Like, whatever. I'll look it up later. It's probably a real thing. It sounds like a real thing, but again, poor editing. You've got 2 hours. Explain the sun finger thing.
There's already too much show. I need to know. What you're saying here.
Andy and Rachel agree they both like each other, and Rachel says he's maybe a little too eager. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Andy can't sleep at night and wakes up Rachel for what should be a therapy session. Don't force somebody else into being your therapist, I think, is the lesson we learned today from Andy.
No, he's anxious because of high school.
He went to high school. Andy is mad that people are cheering for John cracking a coconut, but not him. Oh, this is just like in high school.
This was the point in the episode where I was like, these episodes are too long.
Yeah. 90 minutes, I think, is the sweet spot for this show.
I can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah, 2 hours a week is going to be a lot. I think it's every week this season. It's going to be 2 hours. Over on Tuku, Gabe has to break up a massive piece of driftwood for his next box. And guess what? It's another box, telling him he can do another task to hold on to the idol until the final 5.
You know what's fun? We still haven't gotten to the immunity challenge. And it's like an hour into the episode.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. He does not do the final task, so this idol's good for 3 tribals, I think. Is that right? Back on Lava, Rome has to soak some driftwood, I guess. Wait, what? Okay. Asia catches him doing so. His next clue says it's at the bottom of the well. Asia and everyone else catch him again. Rome's doing a bad game so far, I think.
He's doing pretty bad, and he also maybe contaminated their drinking water, so...
Pretty cool. Pretty cool thing to do. Okay, Thomas, you've been begging for it. It's finally time for the immunity challenge. From a platform, they have to get in a boat, collect chests, and drag the chests to the puzzle section, do a puzzle. You know? A classic challenge.
I didn't ask for this.
Did you see the immunity idols this season?
What about them?
They're little monkeys. They're little stone monkeys.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute.
Very cute.
I wish they would have been the ears covering, eyes covering, and then the individual immunity could be like the final one, mouth covering, you know? Monkey. Remember those monkeys?
Of course. They're on my phone.
Yeah, they're on your phone?
Yeah, they're emojis.
Oh, of course. You meant they were like your background or something. But of course, your background says live, laugh, love, I know. So the winners get a building kit or tool kit. Oh, if they take first or second. I was like, what? They get a choice? Tuku's boat flips over, and then Gada's boat flips over also.
Jeff is like, this is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life. We'll be back on Survivor.
I'm just proud of Lavo for knowing how to operate a rowboat. Somebody was on some podcast. Oh, I think it was Charlie on Fire, the worst named podcast in all of history. And he was like, the boats don't operate how you think they would. It's like, how?
The rowboat.
It's a rowboat.
How did you think they operated?
Saul is strong. He does the chest all by himself. Both tribes spend a lot of time getting the water out of their boat after making it to land. Why did they do this? Was this necessary?
I have to think maybe it was, because I don't know why else he would do it.
Maybe they, I don't know, had something in the boat? Whatever. Lava wins easily. And then Andy, the high schooler, fakes a medical issue because he thought he was going to get voted out.
He didn't necessarily fake anything. He just happened to be talking about how he was going to be voted out.
But did you notice how, like, before he laid down, they cut to him just kind of like wandering around where he was about to sit down?
Yeah, it wasn't like he like collapsed. He like walked and then sat down and then went ugh and fell over.
And, like, maybe he was just, like, disoriented, but the way it looked was very much like, oh, is anybody looking at me? Yeah, bro, all of the cameras.
It was a pretty critical time in that challenge, too.
Yeah, so Tuku takes second place. Andy explains that he's on the bottom and that his best friend is John, and he's going to throw him under the bus to stay. Hey, you know,
I love
you can't argue with success.
You gotta reveal that to everybody.
That was so fucking funny. Like, why?
Well, this is, I mean, if you're John, this is just like a gift, right? I mean, that's an easy vote.
You would think.
You go, we can't trust this guy. I was the closest guy for him, and he was going to throw me under the bus immediately after he quit on the challenge.
But see, Andy is big and strong and bi, which is all 3 very popular things on Survivor.
He's big, burly, and bi, the 3 Bs.
3 Bs. You've heard of brain, brawn, beauty. This one's different.
Big, burly, and bi.
Thank you. That is a season we should do. I know you don't want to add simulated seasons to our list anymore, but I think Big, Burly, and Bi would be a good season to do. There have got to be at least 6 bi people who've been on Survivor, right?
Yeah, I don't think that would be hard to get.
got a beach. Andy explains he was susceptible to paranoia and how his anxieties resurfaced. Yeah, because he hasn't even graduated high school yet. Of course you're anxious. You have class in the morning. How is he doing Survivor and class at the same time?
Yeah, I think I'd be a little anxious too. It's hard to balance those things.
Oh, I may have a pop quiz tomorrow. So now John is feeling paranoid. Paranoia breeds paranoia. Paranoid people paranoid people. Right?
Yeah. Paranoid people annoyed people.
They paranoid go in people and deliver pizza to people.
Steal their pizza. And you must avoid them.
You must avoid the paranoid. He complains to the women and they reassure him they're voting Andy, but he's going to be the decoy target. It's never a good sign. You never want to be the decoy target.
Nope, because you might be the real target.
I had a dream I was on Survivor, and that's all I'm going to say, because if you want to hear more, you can listen to Did You Sleep Last Night on our Patreon.
John when you awoke, says, you spent that on a necklace.
John says if he's going to be on one episode, one glorious and whatever episode, he is going to go out swinging. And even here, when I took the note that had the episode title, I didn't even get it down right. Whoops. Oh well. I'll do better next time, folks. So he targets Annika on the basis of tribe strength. Sure, why not? It's the first episode of Survivor. Why wouldn't we throw a woman of color who is small under the bus? So they're weighing Andy's strength versus John's paranoia? Andy's paranoia? What was the reasoning for voting John out?
I think he,
he's not big, burly, or bi.
No, I think he wasn't solid. I think the issue wasn't he trying to turn it on Annika?
He was trying to turn it on Annika.
And I think that they were like, dude, just take the win here. I don't...
Yeah. It's weird. That makes sense, yeah. So, before we discuss this further, we do have to talk about everybody's favorite topic, the wildlife shots. We had a shark, we had many a fish, we had bats, and we had the Bololo worm. You know about these guys?
I don't know about the Bololo worm.
These are worms. They look like worms. Where can they be found?
Probably the ground, I would think.
Where on the globe could they be found? I should have been more specific.
Somewhere on the ground, probably.
Good call. Here's one thing I'll say about these worms. This is one of the most poetic Wikipedia articles I've ever read for an animal. This is directly from Wikipedia. This part's not particularly poetic, but you'll see what I mean. From the waters of some of the Pacific islands, including Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, and the islands of the maritime Southeast Asia, which are part of Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and the Philippines. Okay, now tell me, Thomas, how would you describe their reproduction cycle?
Do they reproduce asexually?
Quite the opposite. Reproduction involves mass spawning at night in spring or early summer, which is October to November in the southern hemisphere. A local redland crab descends to the sea the same night. The Bololo is supposed to rise. The terminal parts of the bodies are dropped off and float over the surface of the water, releasing sperm and eggs. The mechanisms or triggers which induce spawning such that it occurs during nights of a waning moon, continuing for several nights, are not completely known. Exposure to sunlight destroys this tail part of the worm's body afterward. The worm's rising in Fiji is preceded by the descent of a local red land crab to the sea on the same night. In Samoa, a crab is known as maleo also descends to the sea around the Bololo rising. Other sea creatures such as sharks and fishes come to spawn during the event. What does any of that mean?
I do that all the time.
That's so many words, and I recognize all of those words for the most part. I couldn't make sense of it, so I just had to read it verbatim, hoping you understood what was happening.
I don't want to blow up my spot here, so
Sure.
if you know, you
That's
know.
fair.
That's what I'll say.
How do you think indigenous populations consider this as a foodstuff?
Is it? Do they like it? Do they like to eat it?
It is often considered a delicacy. In Samoa, the worms are revered as an excellent food source, hunting them taking place 7 days after the first full moon in October. There you go. I have no question for you. That's just a fun fact. How would you describe their flavor?
Earthy.
It's similar to that of mussels or oysters. And how would you cook these if you were to prepare them?
If it's mussels or oysters, I don't know. Do you like fry them?
Yes, you fry them. What with?
It's
Two things.
onions and garlic.
You got one of them, onions. What do you fry things in? It's not oil, it's the other one.
Like butter?
Butter and onions, yes. As I was reading through this article, I was like, this is starting to sound pretty tasty. You add butter and onions to anything, I'll eat it. They serve them with taro or banana chips. Where do you think they rank on the IUCN Red List?
Least concern.
In fact, they are data deficient. Too many people are fucking eating these guys. They can't even do the research.
It's impossible to know how many there are.
They maybe grab none. 1,000.
Maybe there aren't any.
Yeah, because we fucking ate them all. It's so tasty. Okay, so Sierra talks about how much she prepped at tribal council. Annika talks about being the leader. John says, yes, we're a community, but we're also competitors. And then Jeff asks Andy about the outbursts at the immunity challenge, and he says he never felt like he belonged. Ugh, high school, am I right? Sam says it's hard to trust Andy after what he did to his own best friend. Sam, the only one who's making sense anymore. John gets voted out 5-1 over Annika.
Apparently not that hard to trust him.
Yeah. Did you see when John went to grab his torch? Jeff said, "John, leave it." It's pretty funny.
I also liked that somebody who voted for him on the vote wrote John, the word love, and then the word it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay, so last week we, of course, picked our people. We started the season with 0 points.
You, of course, picked John Lovett, so this was a tough week for you.
I picked John Lovett to be voted out, as did you, so we both got a point for that. You picked Teeny, I picked Rome on the Lava Tribe, both of them survived. You picked TK, I picked Sue for Tuku, both of them survived. You picked Sierra, and I picked Sam on Gata, both of them survived. I think 5 of our 6 picks are pretty good.
Yeah. Which one isn't?
Look, the man was not built in a day. It took 9 to 10 months, I'm sure.
So you're saying you're not sublime in your pick of Rome?
I would not describe it in such a way. You said Tuku, and I said Lava would win Reward. Neither of them did. We both said they would win Flint. They did. Obviously, you said Tuku would win Immunity. I said Lava, and they both did. So we are tied again at 6 points. So, how are you feeling one weekend?
I feel good.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like every single first episode of this show now I do the Steve Harvey I don't want to do this show no more thing where it's just like they can't keep doing this to us, but I'm sure it will get better.
Speaking of Steve Harvey, I was watching an episode of Family Feud, and I thought his mustache and 2 eyebrows. Do you think they're triplets?
They're they're identical.
Do you think they're identical triplets? It kind of feels like they are. Or at the very least, like friends who look very similar, you know?
I think it would be interesting to Photoshop Steve Harvey's eyebrows, like one of his eyebrows onto his lip, and then Photoshop his mustache as his 2 eyebrows. What would that look like?
That would be pretty funny, and I'm sure somebody's done that. Okay, who's winning this next reward challenge? Gata, Lava, or Tuku?
Well, first I'm going to just go to the Survivor wiki to refresh my memory on which one of these is which.
Good call. I know Lavo is the one with Teeny. Tuku's the one with TK. That's easy to remember. Sierra and Sam are on Gata. That's the yellow tribe. Tuku's the blue tribe. Lavo's the red tribe. That's a lot of people.
So for reward, I think that Tuku is going to win.
I am going to say Lavo is going to win. What will this reward be? And they've already done tools to build a shelter in Flint, so we have to actually be clever now.
Fishing gear.
Fuck. Forgot about that one.
Don't tell me I have to be clever.
Comfort items, pillows, blankets, whatnot. Who's winning immunity?
I'm gonna say Gata is gonna win immunity.
Wow, they gotta, because they'll lose somebody else instead if they lose. Okay, I'll say Tuku. Who gives a fuck? And who's getting voted off?
Rome is getting voted off.
Don't say that. He has an idol, I think.
Yeah, that definitely, as we all know, you can't get voted off if you have an idol.
No, it's never happened to anybody at all. And do you remember in the preseason, everybody was like, because they got on the island as 46 was ending, or in the middle of airing, and they're like, people, you gotta play your idols. So hopefully they actually do this season. I will say Andy gets voted out. Too little, too late, my guy. Okay, so this segment we haven't done in a while, but it's come back. Do you want to hear my mom's takes?
I would love to hear your mom's takes.
She says she'd watched the intro videos, and that's it. She said first round. Oh, she also, guess what website she watched them on?
Did she watch them on Facebook?
Of course. And she was like, I don't think they're all up there. I was like, Mom, I'm
Just go
sure
to YouTube.
they are.
Just go to YouTube.
Just go to YouTube. They're all in one video. She says, first impressions, best at challenges, Rome and Tiana. She accurate? I don't remember either of them doing great or poorly.
I mean, Rome was on the team that won immunity, was he not?
And as was Tiana.
Yeah, so I think they did pretty well.
Worst at challenges, Sam and Rachel. I don't know why she thinks Sam's going to be bad at challenges. Sam is a athlete. Biggest baby, Annika. I think she is right on that.
No, I mean, not really. I think Andy's probably the biggest. Andy's probably the biggest baby.
Because he is the youngest, technically, because he's still in high school.
Gotta love him.
Best social game, Tiana and TK. I could see that. TK is already super popular. Most annoying, Genevieve and Carolyn. Mom, anti-feminist. Hard worker, Saul and Sue. I think that's accurate. Most strategic, John.
Well,
so she got that one wrong. Hides in the shadows, as in doesn't get much camera time, Kyle. I hope she's wrong about that, because I like Kyle. Awkward, Sam, Rachel, and Keyshawn. What does she have against Sam?
I don't know. Also, I think that Andy seemed pretty awkward from the get-go, but that's just me.
Keyshawn seems really nice. Rachel seems fine. Everyone's friend, Sierra, Andy, Tina, and Asia.
Andy is not everyone's friend. That's what he was so anxious about.
Friend. Teeny, obviously everyone's friend. Sierra seems cool. Asia seems cool with everybody. Makes dumb moves. Gabe. Wait and see on that one. First out, Genevieve. Final three, Tiana, Tony Khan, and John. So, that's interesting.
Your mom had some interesting ideas about how this was going to go.
She certainly did. Speaking of interesting ideas, Thomas, this week we talked all about the demise of famous speechwriter turned podcast host, John Leavitt. So, can you tell us the name of this week's quotes quiz?
So nasty that it's probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Then he told the people you can call me your majesty.
Oh boy, more like quiz save America.
Good one.
Yeah, it's my best joke yet. What do your personal political beliefs say about you? The answer could surprise you. This is by Ben Smith and Andrew Kaczynski from 2014.
working from BuzzFeed. Ooh, 10 years ago. What? Nope. Do you ever dream that the world could be a better place?
Yes.
Yes or no? I'll also say yes. I like to be positive here on the Official Haters podcast. Do you have friends who have different political views than you? Yes or
yeah.
No? No. Must be nice to have friends.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Do you think the United States can learn things from other countries?
Yeah.
No.
No. We got it all
No, I think we're number one, and actually everything we do is perfect.
I think we got it all figured out here.
Do you enjoy Middle Eastern or South Asian food or food from other cultures?
You bet.
It's so specific. Yeah, of course. Do you find yourself rooting for the underdog when watching movies and sporting events? No, I want the Yankees to win.
Sometimes, yes.
Yankees,
I'm putting
Patriots,
yes.
Tom Brady, Will Smith. These are my favorite guys. Do you sometimes think that it can be more patriotic to question your government than to obey it?
Yes.
No. You can't ever question the government. One time in okay. Thank you. Your responses have been logged with the NSA under file 49839820340. Please help keep America safe by sharing this quiz with everyone you know. Hey, I did that. I did share it with everyone.
And said that to me too.
The same number too?
49839820331?
No, mine's 340. But all the other numbers are the same.
Okay.
Pretty good quiz. Anyway, is it more question to government? Is it
more question to government?
Is it more patriotic question to government? In high school, in 9th grade, I was in band, remember? And the band teacher told us you should always question authority, but never challenge it. And I said, what? What's the point of questioning it then?
I disagree.
I wasn't, I was in high school, so I was anxious, couldn't even make it on Survivor. But I should have, I definitely should have. If he said it to me now, I would say, what? But out loud.
So you should have said, why is that to him? But if you said, I disagree, that would be challenging authority.
Exactly. Thomas, what's your social medias?
Follow me at tom.bsky.social, which I never post on, or you can follow me at tom.tom on X, the everything app, formerly known as Twitter, and I post on there a lot.
It's football season. It's spooky season.
A lot of football I've been posting about. Michigan won yesterday in a game that I was miserable for large portions of, but they did it.
Isn't sports fun? The show is on YouTube, the Compassionate Haters Survivor podcast. And if people wanted to comment to the thing on the YouTube, what could they comment?
Oh, boy. I guess they could comment, haha, very funny smiley face.
I would love if people did that. They'll fail to do that. Our last poll asked, Quopes quiz, love it or leave it. What do you think people said?
I bet they said leave it.
100% of voters said love it.
What?
People love the Quopes quiz. What's this week's poll?
Boy, what is this week's poll?
What was the question? Did high school make you anxious? Are you anxious or confident? That's the two words in Survivor,
Yeah, you know what, I think Andy medical event, fake or real?
Ooh, that's really good. That one will actually get people to vote on it because it's a hot take. To vote, you go to, and I'm sure everybody's still listening to the podcast, https://www.youtube.com/@official haters survivor podcast/community. I want more people to vote in our polls, and this is a good poll to vote in. We have a few shows on Patreon, like the Dream one I mentioned earlier. You can subscribe there at patreon.com/justpodcasts. Oh, I wonder if I ever put the link to our Patreon if more people would go. Put it in the bio for the episode, instead of just reading it out loud. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's why people aren't clicking through. Anyway, did you want to shout out any show on the on the thing?
On the Patreon, let's go just Justin, the Justin Timberlake
Just
Patreon.
Justin.
Just Justin.
I was listening to Sexy Back in the car the other day. It's a good fucking song.
When
He's
you
kind of
when you listen to it, you're like, this motherfucker doesn't know how to act. That's what
Go ahead.
you know. What, that's what
What
I
does he
think when I
say?
watch any movie that Justin's in. Heyo.
Here's my advice for Justin Timberlake. Lose the lake. Just Timber. It's
just
cleaner.
Timber's cleaner.
Justin Timber.
You know, honestly, Justin Timberlake, I think, is a pretty good actor. And he's good in Inside Llewyn Davis.
It's really interesting that you say that because this, in fact, is not just Justin. This is Did You Watch Survivor last night? The official Survivor Haters Compassionate podcast, whatever we call it now. We'll be back next week with the next episode of Survivor 47. Ooh, I can't wait till we figured out a subtitle for this one.
Oh wait, before we do have to do that, but before we get to, since it is officially fall now,
Okay.
when we get to the have a great summer, I think you should say have a great trip to Maine.
Deuces.
No. This is why I brought this up now, so that we could get that out of the way.
But we're already at that point.
Okay,
It's
well
literally
then
the next line.
then say it to me.
Okay, Thomas, are you ready?
Yes.
Have a great spooky season.
Fuck you. See you next fall. Jim Morrison, or who was it?
It was Jim Morrison, and that's the other reason I thought it was spooky season theme, because he's such a spooky guy. He's all, ooh, I'm Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
This is how I talk.
He's all like, LA woman. And I'm like, ooh, help.
My question for Hollywood, I guess, is why'd you do that band? Why'd you make that?
People really liked The Doors.
I don't get it.
No, I don't either. I think you had to be there.
Yeah, that's not a good review for a band, I think. It's like listening back to, I don't know, Los Campesinos or somebody, like, oh yeah, I remember liking this band in, like, 2008. Like, would you say Los Campesinos are kind of the Doors of 2000s indie rock?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say so. They just put an album out that I thought was pretty good, but...
Yeah, I do. It's not a great
Who would be
like
the Doors of...
Maroon 5?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Maroon 6?
Yeah, where does it end? You know, you had another person in there, that's Maroon 7.
Is it 5 Guys? Is Maroon 5 Guys?
Yeah, they're affiliated with the burger place now.
That's really good for them. I wish more bands would have sponsors.
Yeah, we've got a lot of bands, but we don't have enough brands.
That's so true. Thank you for saying it.
And I think people are afraid to say it, but they shouldn't be.
What year do you think Maroon 5 started?
They started in like the 90s, didn't they? I think they toured with like Green Day.
1994, when they were in high school. And guess what? It's way more than 5 people. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 people.
I feel like I've been living a lie.
Mm-hmm. Maroon lie, more like it.
Yeah. It's supposed to be laughing. Smarten up, Probst.